weird that nobody's talking about the obvious, that PBC, Al Haymon's PBC, is making a huge comeback in 2026. As you all know, Devin Haney versus Rolly Romero's in negotiations for a May 30 bout in Las Vegas. Devin Haney, who last performed under Turki Alalshikh versus Brian Oman Jr. and Jose Ramirez in Times Square this past year, now negotiating a fight with Rolly Romero on a PBC card. David Benavidez, who last performed under Turki Alalshikh, is going to be performing on a PBC card versus Suldo Ramirez. We all know that Gervonta Tank Davis, report has it that he's in negotiations for a rematch versus Pitbull Cruz, PBC. We all know that this upcoming week, we got Sebastian Fundora versus Keith von Tom Thurman, PBC. Where is Turki Alalshikh and his ring events and Reha season? I think that Turki Alalshikh got 1 foot in and 1 foot out the door. And PBC, Al Haymon's PBC, is making a major comeback in 2026. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. Because I know in this community, a lot of people been hating on PBC for a while. Also, we do have the Charlo brothers. Report has it that Shamar Charlo is in negotiations with Resendiz. Also, we got Jamel Charlo, who's making his way back to the 154-pound division, a stacked division in the sport of boxing, one of the most competitive and intriguing division in the sport of boxing. If you follow the channel, Punch on Boxing, aka Mr. Mo Shot himself, I've been trying to tell you that the 54-pound division is the most intriguing division in the sport of boxing. So, why nobody's giving credit to PBC? And why people are trying to avoid the fact that it seems like the same money that was poured in by Turki Alalshikh since he came into the scene, he's holding back. Is it because the American fighter that he was investing on, just did not perform to the level of his expectations? I mean, look, Turki put up good events, but it seems like it's tough making. It's tough dealing with the American fighters or the North or fighters from this side of the pond, right? I mean, look, we got Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, but let's be real, let's be honest. We never asked for that fight. And if you really want to talk about the performance-wise, I think that was an historic win. But performance-wise, it's not like a fight that you want to go back and watch. Oh my God, I gotta go watch that fight again. It wasn't a lot of action. Then you talk about the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson, Madison Square Garden, this past January 31st. It wasn't a lot of action either. You know, it was just a jab. It was an outclass, masterclass performance by Shakur Stevenson. But it was not a type of fight that, oh my God, is one of the ages. And then we go to the Times Square card. You already know that was a very boring card. We seen Devin Haney beat Jose Ramirez, but very underwhelming. You know what I'm saying? We seen Ryan Garcia get beaten by Rolly Romero, which, you know, upset the apple cart in terms of we did wanted to see the rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney and lost the momentum, right? Even though that Rolly Romero did his thing, he started, you know, criticizing Ring and Turki Alalshikh and how they dealt with him leading up to the fight. So probably Turki ain't want to do business with Rolly Romero. Why isn't Turki talking about doing the fight with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, the rematch? Why isn't we talking about that Turki Alalshikh is not trying to fund Virgil Ortiz versus Jerome Bruce Ennis, and is the reason why we in this they in that situation where Golden Boy Promotion only could give a guarantee purse to Virgil Ortiz of $3 million, in which he was making $4 million with Turki Alalshikh. Why we was talking about Suldo Ramirez versus David Benavidez, and it was supposed to be showcased by Turkey, but then ended up on PBC, Golden Boy Promotions. Nobody want to talk about it. Is it that because the media? Look, I respect the media, my fellow independent media. I know that certain people, it's not about that they don't want to keep it real, is that people want to keep their relationships and people doesn't want to, overly criticize. People, the media walks on eggshells nowadays because, anytime you challenge any entity in the sport of boxing, they're going to take away your press credentials and things of that nature. But nobody's talking about it. I don't know if this has to do with the war out there. I don't know. But I think that Turki Alalshikh has 1 foot in and 1 foot out in the sport of boxing. Speaking of Devin Haney versus Rolly Romero, again, it's going to be in the PBC card. It's a PBC contract, and I think it's a good fight, a good unification bout. Maybe Turki just want to put the fight that he wants to put. Forget about what boxing wants. I think Turki is about I'm only gonna pay for what I want to see. I'm done. Maybe trying to give y'all what y'all want. It's not quenching my thirst, because we all know that Turki is a boxing fan, and he's a boxing fan of the past. But we're not seeing these type of performances. We've seen some great matches, but we're not seeing this overwhelming. Like, think about it. We did get the fight that we want to see in terms of Beterbiev versus Bivol. But also, that's another rivalry that didn't have knockouts, didn't have blood, didn't have nothing of an excitement. Yeah, for the hardcores, but let's be real. The hardcores doesn't flip the bill. We did have Usyk and Tyson Fury. That's a fight that needed to take place. The last crescendo that was supposed to be one of the best cards in the history of the sport of boxing, only did 45,000 pay-per-view buys over here in America. So I think that Turki understands that the market out here for what the hardcore wants is not as lucrative. But gotta credit, I say this, Al Haymon, PBC, and Turki Alalshikh is the one that's going to be taking over 2026. I think that PBC is the only one that didn't bit the apple, in my opinion. I think that Turki found a way to do business with these promoters. Frank Warren, who's now suing them, or suing Salah, I forgot, he's suing one of these guys. You got Matchroom, you got Golden Boy Promotions, you got Top Rank. Top Rank, though, still got a home. And you know that these guys are silently hating on the man with the flying carpet. But I don't blame Turki, to be honest. I think Turki tried hard in bringing us the fight that we want to see, and I think that there's certain guys that just made it hard. You know what I'm saying? Canelo didn't want to give us David Benavidez. Boots Ennis, he avoided to fight Virgil Ortiz an offer of Turki Alalshikh. I think that Turki Alalshikh probably came into the sport of boxing and be like, I don't understand what the hell is happening and stuff. Why these guys just doesn't want to fight? I mean, I thought the promoters were the problem, but it's actually the fighters. So let me know what y'all think, man. Cause he's been kind of quiet, and I think that PBC is gonna make a splash like they did in 2023, in my opinion. Let me know what y'all think, and who y'all got versus Devin Haney versus Rolly Romero. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's gonna be a great build-up. I think it's gonna be on Amazon Prime. I think it's gonna be a good build-up, and maybe it could lead to the rematch. Maybe it could lead to the rematch between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, and probably Turki will pay for that one. You know what I'm saying? I think that people was trying to hustle or take advantage of Turki in terms of he was giving a lot of money, and that's why I remember when he had that interview with the Boxing Voice, and he was trying to say like, nah, Boots, you want to tune up, you think you're gonna get money out of me? Basically, you better go to Eddie and get those tune-up fights, and then you could come back to me when you're ready to fight Virgil Ortiz. And as soon as Boots was ready to fight Virgil Ortiz, the money wasn't there. He wasn't there. And And that's the nobody's talking about that. Well, let me know what y'all think, man. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Love you, God bless, and on to the next.